Fabi, good to see you. Welcome back to the US. Obviously, it's been a while since you've been here. Big week in the world of chess. We got called out in the comments last time because we did not talk about Spassky. Of course, rest in peace to a great Boris Spassky. Just passed, I think, a couple of days after we recorded that one. So we obviously, for a good reason, did not talk about him. But yeah. Big loss for the world of chess. Everybody knows him. Well, a lot of people know him because of his match against Bobby Fischer, 1972, the 10th world champion, a man with great influence in the world of chess. Your take on it?
Yeah,
have you ever met him?
No, we
because I never met him. So
we never met. Yeah, he was the 10th world champion. Of course, he's mostly known for. I mean, besides the World Championship, for the very famous match in '72.
Yeah.
But of course, he did also win the World Championship before that, and he was one of the most influential players of the mid 1900s, for sure. Along with his fellow world champions, and yeah, he died at the age of 88, so he lived a long life. I think he wasn't in great health for a while.
Towards the end, yeah.
I don't really have many Spassky stories, but I did meet his son, and he told some stories when he visited St. Louis because the family was donating some memorabilia from Spassky's collection. A lot of it related to the match with Fischer, but not just that.
Like score sheets and stuff like that. It's actually a very cool exhibition that's still happening, I think, at the World Chess Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see that, also to meet his son. So we spoke a bit. He told some stories about his father. His son isn't really a chess player, but obviously he was around the chess world a lot. So that was very interesting. That was a few years ago that he was here with his family. Really nice guy as well. And unfortunately, I never met Boris Spassky. But yeah, I wish I had. I've only met a few world champions, and there's not so many of the great old world champions who are still alive. Of course, Gary is still going strong, and I've been lucky to play him also.
Topalov, Kramnik, etc., etc.
Well, okay, I don't consider those the old, old world champions, but the guys from the mid 1900s. In 2008, Bobby Fischer passed away.
Yeah,
at a relatively young age, 64 years old.
Something, yeah, 64.
Yeah, and it does feel a bit like some part of chess history also left when Boris Spassky passes.
Yeah, and I feel I should know way more stories because Yasser always tells them on the broadcast, but yeah, none of them really come to mind right now, and that's why I actually wanted to maybe have Yasser in one of the next episodes to give him a worthy tribute, let's say. I was looking through some of his games, I was looking through some of his quotes and stuff like that, just kind of get an idea of what type of person he was. And one of the things that struck me was, I think a quote of his that he was saying that his worst years in chess were when he was a world champion, because of the pressure. Because of the pressure of being the king and not having that many people around you. I don't know, probably there were some political connotations added to that as well, but obviously I don't have much detail or much information about that. But somehow it felt very, very similar to what Ding was going through. Obviously, the scale is completely different, and he was there for a longer time. But yeah. Struck me as kind of interesting and somewhat similar to Ding's situation. Anyway, so that was a big one. Obviously, everybody was pouring in with their own tributes, and that was ours. Great chess player, great world champion, and a great human from the stories I've read. Like even with Bobby, they had such a rivalry, but they were still considering each other friends.
Yeah, I think they were friends.
I don't know why.
Especially after the match.
After the match, exactly.
Yeah. Bobby, I think, considered him one of his friends, one of his few friends.
Yeah.
Because, of course, Bobby wasn't very close to many people. And, I think, I don't know the reason why. We can't really get into Fischer's head so much.
There was a lot of respect coming from Spassky's side as well towards Bobby. Like, he always saw him coming. Even when he was a world champion, he was like, this guy is probably better than I am, you know. So yeah, there was a lot of.
He could have won the match in '72. Of course, you know I mean, Fischer was basically threatening to leave the match, right? But yeah, he probably could have won the match by default if he had wanted to. It all worked out a different way. But it is one of the most iconic matches for sure.
History would have been completely different, yeah, if he would have taken the forfeit.
Well, definitely in terms of, I mean, if Spassky had been world champion after '72, and then he would have definitely played in '75. But would it have been so different if Karpov qualifies to the world championship match in '75 and then beats? I mean, he's going to beat Spassky
probably,
most likely, because Karpov, I think, at that point was very close to unstoppable, and maybe it wouldn't have changed so much. I mean, Fischer unfortunately didn't really get much out of the world championship. I mean, he dominated the world, and then he left as soon as he started to dominate it. Mm-hmm. So, we can of course speculate what would have happened if this or that, or if Fischer had decided to keep playing, if Fischer had decided to play Karpov. But yeah, the '72 match started 2-0 for Spassky. One by forfeit, one very famously
Bishop takes H2.
Bishop takes H2, yeah. The first game. But after that, Fischer was the superior player. But it's also not to Spassky's discredit. I mean, Fischer at that point was unstoppable. He beat Taimonov 6-0. He beat Larsen 6-0. He beat Petrosian 4.5, 1.5, I think. There was no way to imagine how someone could stop him at that point. He was just far too strong. He was ahead of his time. But Spassky was incredibly strong player as well. I think, I mean, I don't know exactly his personality, but I think people said that his only real deficit as a chess player was that he wasn't the hardest working. Mm-hmm. So despite his great ability, he didn't put in as much work as Fischer.
I think Kramnik had this funny quote on his Twitter that somebody visited him in France, and on his wall there was a quote or like a note saying, "Learn French, idiot." So apparently he did not learn French while living in France for many years, and that's mostly because, as you just pointed out, he was perhaps a little bit on the lazy side.
Well, I think it's relative, of course, because you have to work hard to get to that. You have to, besides being very talented, very gifted, you have to be super hardworking at some point.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a relative of like maybe Fischer's obsessiveness and then a lower level of obsessiveness over chess. And if you want to compete with a generational player like Fischer, then you have to sacrifice a lot outside of chess as well, which is not everyone wants to do that.
Yeah, obviously, huge part of history, chess history at least, passed the last couple of days. So yeah, rest in peace, and I'm sure we'll probably discuss about him at length, maybe with Yasser in one of the podcast episodes, if the comments are interested in that, if you guys in the comments are interested in that. But